All right, we're recording. We're on. All right, let's share the screen. Stuff here. Okay, everyone seeing the screen?
Yes.
Take that off.
Yes, yes.
I don't know how to. All right. Don't worry about that. That's just some of my chart markups. All right, we'll go to the web analyzer itself. Okay. And let's. Great. So when you come onto the web analyzer, you'll see this chart, this charts, and you'll see indicators, and then you'll see trade calls on the left or the right hand side, depending on how you see it. All right, and these trade calls, anything in green is for a buy, anything in red is for a sell. Now, whenever the analyzer gives you a call for a buy at a certain price, you don't take the trade immediately. All right, you've got to apply a trading strategy to the analyzer. Hold on a second. There's a way of stopping people to draw on this thing. Let me just see, disable attendee annotation. There we go. Okay. So if you see a trade and it's called immediately, it is not for you to immediately take the trade. Okay. You've got to apply certain strategies and certain analysis to the trade to, one, be able to get a precise entry, and then two, you've got to establish where a good take profit target could potentially be. All right, and then of course you've got to establish your risk management, because not all the trades will go in the direction that you want it to. So the first thing you've got to do is come to this little wheel right here, just over the trade call. It looks like a little wheel next to the spanner and screwdriver, and you click on that, and that is your settings button. And in the settings button, you can choose many strategies to choose from, and these strategies, they've got little different indicators, and they use things in a certain way, so that you could apply to the trade calls, so that you could then take decent trades. Now, the one that we're going to be using is the Granville trend trading strategy. So if we click on that, all right, there is a cha-ching that comes with the analyzer, so that whenever a potential trade comes in, you'll hear a cha-ching. I take it off because it forever goes. And then you could switch between dark mode. So if I click on off here for a minute and hit save settings, then you'll have a white background. I prefer a darker background. So I just go back to the settings button and I click on dark mode to be on, and hit save and reload settings. All right, so we have a darker background here. So as you wish, there is a button here that you could hit with a pause and replay. So if you pause that button, then no more trades will come in, but it's good if you want to scroll up and look at all the trades, because as soon as the trade comes in, then it jumps back up to the beginning. So it's good for that sort of purpose. The newest trade is always at the top, and the older trades are at the bottom. Okay, and if you switch across to this part of just under the web analyzer logo, and you see trading, if you just click on, there's a dollar sign and another sign, I'm not quite sure what that is, but if you click on that, then you switch in between, oh yeah, and it's like a C. So you switch in between the crypto analyzer and the web analyzer. So these are cryptocurrencies here. We've got Ripple, Ethereum, and I could pause, let me pause that. Ripple, Ethereum, ZEC, again, Ripple, and you could, the crypto analyzer comes free with the web analyzer. Okay, so take advantage of that. And also, if you click next to that, there's a little icon there. I'm not quite sure what that icon represents, but if you click on that, then you could trade things like gold here on the analyzer. So you've got calls for gold, you've got calls for silver, and some other metals as well. Okay. Is somebody raising their hand? Wanted to say something. Someone has a question? Okay, no.
No, they haven't. I'll monitor the questions for you, Bally. If anything comes in, I'll let you know.
No problem. Good. So, yeah, you could switch in between crypto, normal currencies, metal trading if you want to, things like that. So let's switch back to normal currencies. You hear that cha-ching call? That cha-ching is a trade coming in. So let's have a look at this latest trade, and let's see what how we could look at it. How do we view it? How do we take these trades? So we click on the currency name itself, or anywhere in between here, and it loads. Right? The chart itself loads. Cool. And it's calling for a potential buy on GBP USD. Now, I like that, and I'll tell you why. Okay, you'll see all these indicators here. These indicators here, I mean, I really don't like too many indicators, but the indicators just help you to get a precise entry, all right, into the market, and a precise entry will help you with your risk management, which we'll discuss a bit later on. We have Bollinger Bands here. We've got moving average lines. I usually take these TEMA and DEMA off. I don't use that at all. All right, with our RSI, let's switch and change this setting to 7 and hit save as default. I also like to just make sure that is yellow. Okay. With the stochastic, the inputs are 733. All right, and all this just does is just look at the last 7 candles and plot this mathematical formula. So 7 candles just based on the time frame that you're on. Okay, and this MACD I use as 3, 10, and 16. Now, I use the RSI and the MACD to help me spot divergence in the market, and also I use this stochastic to help me with cycles, right? So when I say cycles, I mean that whenever it's the stochastic cycles here, that's a cycle high, which you could see there, and then it cycles here, it gives me a cycle low, then it pushes up a little bit, give me a cycle high, then it pushes down, give me a cycle low, that sort of thing. That's how I use it. for cycles, right? I use Bollinger Bands as well, and I'll show you as we go along. And then we've got some moving average lines here. All right, so I like to change this. This one would be 13. This one will be 62. This one will be 100. I'm sorry, 200. And I should be hitting save as default here. Okay, so when you do that save as default, it helps. But when you reload all these settings, they come back as they should. Right? Save as default. And save as default. So, okay, great. So when I'm doing my analysis, I do just like to mark up my charts just as normal technical analysis. And I do encourage you, if you haven't done it yet, to check out technical analysis in the IML Academy and do your basics 1, 2, 3, 4 and technical analysis. And that will really help you to understand a bit better of what we're going to do. So I'm going to take all these indicators off. Right, so I'm going to just look at the pure chart. Yeah, I'm just going to erase this for a minute.
There is a at the top of Zoom, there is a bit to turn off all annotations if you need to.
Annotations. Okay, no, all good, all good. I've prevented anybody from writing again anyways. So all good. All right. So with our technical analysis, what I like to do is I like to go to do a top-down analysis, go to a bigger time frame, say for example a monthly or daily here. And it kind of gives me an idea of where the general market is, where the general gist of the market is headed. Okay, and we could see here that GBP JPY or GBP USD has been downtrending for quite a long time. Now, the web analyzer is more seen as a scalping tool. We use it for like intraday trading as well. So it's basically scalping and intraday trading, right? Your swing trades come depending on where you are in the market. So we don't really use the analyzer for swing trading at all. All right. So we're at. So let's mark off some levels here. So first, I like to do this daily level. All right, I'm marking this off as a daily support and resistance level because here we have, if I zoom in a little bit, we have price pushing at this zone as a support zone. All right, and then it pushes away and comes back up and tests as resistance. And it pushes up, tests as support, and pushes down, tests as resistance, pushes up, tests as support. So it is a very valid area. All right, it's a very valid area for support and resistance. And what that shows us is that price has pushed to this support area, and unlike here where price pushed down and then eventually went up, is actually broken that area. So now we could actually see price potentially pushing down a bit further. So this is just to give you an understanding of where we are in the market. And whenever these trade calls comes up, you would know hey, am I going with the trend? Am I going against the trend? I must say that most of the analyzer calls are against the trend. All right, most of the analyzer calls are against the trend. So you just got to keep that in mind. But sometimes you get some with the trend and they work out really well. Like today we got a Euro CAD with the trend, and that went for 60 pips with the analyzer. Okay. So we could just write here, daily. Let's give it a brighter color. All right. Let's go down to a smaller time frame now. Hold on. Before we do that, let me just put another daily level in here. And all I'm doing is choosing the wick. All right. The wick out of the candle, and then putting a line at the body of the candle right here. It kind of encompasses, look at here, resistance, 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 support level here. So again, just going to mark that through. I'm going to clone this, the daily here. Daily. All right, so let's go down to a smaller time frame, 4-hour time frame. In fact, I don't think the 4-hour will give me much info, so I'll go down to the 1-hour time frame. So you can see what happened here is that price push down is broken. That daily level is come back up, is retested the daily level as resistance, and then is dropped, right? And we see a pull back up again and then dropping. I believe that this price could continue going all the way down to this level down here. Okay, so let's go to a 1-hour chart. And draw support and resistances there. Okay. So right there is a 1-hour support and resistance. And we want to draw these support and resistances in because it helps with our entries and take profit targets, that sort of thing. So you notice I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing. I'm not rushing to take this trade at all. Taking my time, making sure the analysis is right. I'm just going to give this a different color. All right, so we're going to fill this in with the yellow. Okay. When you mark your charts up, you could see where price bounces, price bounces here and then move to there. Price bounces there, moves to there. In reality, all you want is, if you're able to catch 40, 50 pips for the day, that will make you very, very rich. All right, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean when I'm finished here. So if you got all these levels marked up, like for example, today I caught this buy right here, boom, up to that level, and that was for me 50 pips, right? 50 pips. Caught that straight off this afternoon. And this is just pure technical analysis. That wasn't even a call on the analyzer. That was just from technical analysis. Okay. Now, the analyzer is calling for a buy, right? The price it was called at was 1.2704. So we could plot that. We could plot the time it was called at. So local time was at 6:05. So let me just go down to the 5-minute chart. Okay. It was called at 6:05. Is this time, what is this time set to? Somehow I suspect it was that price. That was the time. Even though it's saying 6:05 here. UTC time. All right, okay, so all of this is set. UTC time is 5:05, so this is UTC time. Good. So the trade was called there for a buy. I'm just going to give this a different color. So let's put that as green. Okay. And it was called at the price of 1.2704. Okay. So the trade was called right here for a potential buy. Now, what do we have to do to consider whether we're going to take that trade or whether we're going to not take that trade? This was the coordinates right here. And this is how we start looking at the Bollinger Bands and the RSIs and all of that to give us a precise entry for our trade. Now, if you know me, right, the first thing I want to see is a hit on the Bollinger Band here with price. And that's what we have. We have there a hit on the Bollinger Band with price. All right. The next thing I like to see is price moving away from the Bollinger Band and then coming back down again to give us what we call divergence. All right. And divergence simply means that price is giving you a lower low here. Price is giving you a lower low, but then our indicator, and in this case, our indicator will be the MACD. Right, so you see where price has hit initially. One, we see price in this, what we call an extended bearish position. In fact, we should be taking this trade right now for the buy. Right, so if you're on demo, you take this buy trade on GBP USD, take this buy. Take the buy trade on GBP USD right now. And I'll explain why we're taking the buy. Okay, stop loss just beneath this zone right here. All right, so stop loss is pretty tight. So we're looking at a 10 pip stop loss, 10 pip stop loss. So the trade was taken at 1.2700. So 10 pips is 1.2690. Right, you could also include your spread in that. Could also include your spread in that figure. Okay, so we're in the trade. Now you realize the trade was called way up here, but we haven't gotten in the trade until it's all the way down here. And the reason why we haven't is because up there it did not meet our entry criteria. All right, it did not meet our entry criteria. So we don't enter the trade until it meets our entry criteria. And I'll just pull our entry criteria up here. So there we go. These are the ones. So number one, I want to see price at a support and resistance level. I want to see price hitting the Bollinger Band as well, which is what we have. Let me just pull this across. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Then I want to see price or RSI and stochastic. I want to see bullish exhaustion, and bullish exhaustion meaning that, or bearish exhaustion, it depends on whether it's buy or sell. So in this case, a bearish exhaustion meaning that I want to see our RSI well under this 30 mark, really 30 mark. I want to see it under there. I want to see our stochastic under this 20 mark right here. Okay, so that's all bullish and bearish exhaustion. Number one. Number two, those are met. The next thing I want to see is divergence on or RSI or MACD. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. So the next thing I want to see is divergence on either or RSI or MACD. If we do get cut off, just come back on the same link, okay? If we do get cut off, come back on the same link. All right, so we have, what is divergence? As I was explaining before, divergence is when price gives us a lower low here, right? A lower low, but let's make that orange. I'm picking it up a little bit. All right, price gives us a lower low like this, and then our indicator, in this case, it would be our, in this case, it will be our MACD, gives us a higher low. All right, so right here, where price hit the Bollinger Band, that's where we're starting to look from. So price hit the Bollinger Band at this point. So that's where we're looking at the RSI, we look at the stochastic, see the MACD, they're all kind of peaking down like that. Then the MACD, we're having a higher low like that. Boom. That is an indication that price has exhausted itself and wants to reverse. Okay. Now that doesn't mean a reversal in the trend, but it just means a little pullback. All right, it means a little pullback is going to happen, and especially bouncing off of this support and resistance zone that we've drawn up, that really helps us with getting a precise entry. All right, so we should be in profit right now if you took that trade, or close to profit if you took that trade. Oh well, price giving a little pull down a bit, but price moves like that sometimes, so no need to panic or anything. Just gonna erase. It's gonna erase these lines. I don't want you to get too confused. That was just our entry coordinates. Okay. The other rule that we have is the entry after the 3 criteria is met, and then we have a close of a candle in the direction of our trade, which we had. We had this candle close in the direction of our trade, and that's why we now we've entered this trade. Okay, and that gives us more or less a perfect entry point. It doesn't mean that you're gonna necessarily win the trade, right? But it gives us a perfect entry point for this GBP USD call. And we want good entries because of risk management and risk to reward ratios. All right. Now, if I go to my FX book calculator here, position size calculator. Now I'll show you how to get to it. It's just myfxbook.com. Go to Home, Forex Calculated, and go Position Size Calculated. So say, for example, had 1,000 pound account or dollar account, and I'm risking 2% per trade. Don't risk any more than 2%. Right? My stop loss was 10 pips on this trade, 10 pips. If I hit calculate, that's my lot, that's what my lot sizing should be based on this account size, 0.2, which is pretty good. If my entry wasn't great and I had to have a 20 pip stop loss, and I do calculate, oh, hold on, let me just choose the right currency as well. That's GBP USD. Yeah. Okay, so let's go back again to the 10 pip stop loss. I don't think it should make a major difference, no? All right, so you see we have a 0.2 lot sizing. If my stop loss was 20 pips with the same risk, all of a sudden my lot size is half the amount. So it means that when the trade go in my favor, I'm making less money than if I was able to enter the trade precisely and correctly. So this is why the web analyzer is pretty good, because it gives you a precise entry point once you apply the strategy correctly as well. So we're back to the analyzer, and we've entered this trade for the buy based on what this analyzer is called, but also based on applying the strategy as well to the analyzer to get this trade. Now, I must say that the New York session is kind of coming to a close at the moment, so it's not great in terms of price movement. I don't expect to see price moving in any great way right now. However, the Asian session is going to open in a few hours' time, and that may help to move or push the price along. And in terms of a take profit target now, we've marked off these levels on our, all right, we've marked these levels off where price has moved and bounced over the past few days, and now we could just use them to help us with our take profit targets. Now, let me just go to like a 15-minute chart, a bigger chart. And again, you can see that we have price in this exhausted or bearish exhaustion area.
Yeah.
All right, or indicators are in this bearish exhaustion area. So that gives me a good feeling that, hold on. All right, that gives me a good feeling that this cycle, which is a cycle low on our GBP USD, this could cycle up and push up a bit further. All right. So in terms of a take profit target, your first take profit target could actually be this line right here, which is your middle Bollinger Band. All right, so you could take this and ride it all the way up to your mid Bollinger Band. All right, we could use this tool called a measure tool and measure where we've entered from up to the Bollinger Band here. And that is 16 pips, which is okay. We could also use these levels here at our support and resistance as another take profit target, okay, which is 39.40 pips away. All right, so not bad. All of this, just keep in mind that GBP USD is trending downwards based on how we did our top-down analysis. The main trend is downwards. It doesn't mean that you can't take trades against the trend, but you just got to be aware that the trend is downward. Now, we are in blue in profit. So whenever we in profit, we have a little celebration line that goes one pair blue. And we type that into our chat, or we shout that out loud to celebrate that we in profit. Right. So if you're scalping, you want to get out quickly, you want to have a nice big lot size, really just go to your mid Bollinger Band line right here. This mid Bollinger Band line is a moving average, and it is a 20 moving average line. Okay, so all it just means is these past 20 bars right here. That's a average of all of them plotted on one single line. Okay.
You're getting lots of one pair blue shouted out in the chat, so everyone's happy.
Let's see it. One pair blue.
One pair blue. And
Awesome.
guys, I've put the setup in the chat as well. So if you're unsure about the setup, I've typed it into the chat if you want to enter.
Awesome, guys. Awesome. So, but you realize that I've taken my time. I didn't rush into the trade. The trade was like called 20 something minutes ago, but I took my time just to make sure that I did the analysis right, make sure I had that divergence, make sure that all the rules were met before I entered the trade. That's really important, because if you don't, you'll end up in a lot of drawdown and a lot of frustration thinking, why? You know, just asking yourself,